Now we can also decide to stroke it. Now let's stroke it and see. Now the stroking now works with the color right here. So which color are we stroking it with? I want to stroke mine with let me look for very. Now you can decide to increase the stroke here, of which in our case I don't need any stroke, but that's how the stroke work. I'm going to uncheck that, and then we'll go to inner shadow. Now the inner shadow, I'm going to change this to screen. I'll move the opacity. Now you might not see some effect. I think you can see some effects now. The inner shadow is now a little visible on this side of the screen, okay? And it have a live preview, or you can work on the image live without changing the options, as you can see what I'm doing right here. Okay, so depending on how you want it, go through each and every of these blending options right here to see how they work. Now we have inner glow, which or gives a glow on the inside of the selected layer. We have satin, we have color overlay, which changes the color of the layer, and we have gradient overlay, which gives it a gradient instead of a full color. And you can decide to choose from different gradients on the gradient editor. Now we have something like this. Just click on okay. So you can decide to play with this. We have pattern, and the pattern is not visible because the gradient is visible, but once we make the pattern, the gradient, invisible, we can see a particular pattern. Now you can decide to change the opacity of a pattern to make it merge with the color inside, depending on how you want it, and you can decide to scale the particles of a particular pattern to either be big or small or any size of your choice. Okay, now the outer glow gives you a glow on the outside of the selected layer, and as you can see what I'm telling you about, so we have a little yellowish white at the outside of the layer, and then the drop shadow drops a shadow on outside the layer for you, which in this particular case I will not be using. Now we have this from just drawing a circle, and as you can see in Photoshop here, we have all the effects listed only underneath the layer itself. Now you can decide to off the effect or make it invisible to view the original image, and you can decide to on the effect. You can also decide to delete the effect by right clicking on the effect, and on any particular one you don't want to make visible, you just uncheck that, and it brings out the blend options dialog box, and immediately you uncheck that, it becomes inactive. You can also decide to delete the effect by clicking and dragging on the effect down into the recycle bin to do away completely with the effect. Okay, I'm going to undo that. But this is how you can work with blending options. Play with it and you get different styles and different outlooks of a particular image you're working on. In our next video, we'll be talking about blend options and blending options, opacity and fill, and we're going to look at how we can use this to work more and get a better output of our graphic image.